We also want to welcome everybody. 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 We also want to welcome. Yeah. Okay. I want to welcome everybody watching on YouTube and on Facebook and Instagram. Welcome, and you can drop your chat. You can drop your questions, comments on the chat, and we'll receive them from here. But if you want to really join the conversation, the details are on the description on how to join, the Zoom link and the Zoom password. So you can join us directly on Zoom if you want to make any contribution or ask your questions and all of that. All right, back to my wife.
Okay, so 1 more minute and then we'll start. Where is everyone? If you have people's numbers, please pause them so that we can get everyone in.
Okay, stop.
Okay. Okay, so we are going to start now. So we will start with some scenarios. Before then, I would just do a general introduction, which is that when you get married, it's a fusion of not just individuals but families. So families become related. Which is why I say, "Oh, my in-law," these people are my in-laws, or whatever. So the two families become related by marriage. That is what happens. So knowing how to relate is very important. Knowing how to relate with each other, knowing how to relate with each other's families, very important, very vital, because you're now intertwined, you're now part of each other. Don't forget, you are two different families, most likely from two different places, maybe even two different tribes, maybe even two different countries. So it is very important that you know how to deal with the in-laws. So we're going to talk about a few scenarios. I really wish we had a few more people for this, because we wanted to go around the room and ask questions. What will you do if you were the one? What will you do? So when I tell this, when I give out the scenarios, put yourself in the story and just try to imagine what you would do if it was you, if the whole situation was affecting you directly. Okay, so I'm going to go for the first scenario. Now, if you can hear me, I'd like everyone to please put a yes in the chat. So I'll make sure we're just not talking to ourselves. If you can hear, just say yes, or raise your hand, or put an emoji so we can be sure that you can all hear us very well. So the voice is playing back, so it's still echoing a bit.
I thought we've put off the. Is this still echoing? I thought we've arrested the echo. Is this still echoing? Okay, it's off now.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so number one scenario. Okay, you are 3 years in marriage. You and your spouse. You have an 18-month-old child. Okay, now you have discussed with both families. You have discussed with both families that you don't want to cut your son's hair. Okay, they keep asking, this child is over 1 now, let's cut his hair. I see his hair is bushy, maybe you even plait his hair or you pack it, and both parents-in-law are saying, let's cut the child's hair. You say no. We have agreed we're not going to cut his hair. Now, daddies, so the male in the couple, the male or the man or the husband, his mom helps with childcare occasionally. Sometimes she comes over to the house and takes care of the child, or sometimes you take the child to her house because you live in the same town. Now, you and your husband have discussed this with mom because mom is insistent on cutting the hair. Dad, who is her son, has discussed this with mom separately. Wife has discussed this with mom separately. But on one special day, you take little Junior for mom to babysit because you and your husband are going to work. And when you come to pick up Junior later that day, grandma has cut his hair. I'd like to go around the room to say, what will you do or how would you handle this situation? So raise your hands if you've thought about it and you're ready to answer. Okay, Catherine. Go on, Catherine, unmute and go on.
Good evening, Mama. Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome. Thanks for joining.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm having hoarseness, so my voice may not be clear.
Oh,
but
sorry.
I hope you can hear me.
We can hear you.
So I've actually thought about this several times because I think I like to have my boys in Congos. But I've had this discussion with my mom before, and of course, my mom is someone that can do what you just painted. She'll just keep quiet. When you guys go and she has access to the kids, she will cut their hair. Well, I don't think I'll feel good because apart from the fact that it's a spite to myself and my husband because we gave her the respect to explain to her. But it's not an emergency, it's not a life-threatening thing. I don't think I would react harshly to it. But then I would tell her that I am not very happy with what she did. And maybe I'll grow back my baby's hair if I have to. But I don't think...
It's your mother-in-law who did it, not your mom.
Yeah, my mother-in-law, yes.
Okay.
Yes, of course, we'll have to tell her that what she did wasn't right. It means she disobeyed our own, it's not our rules now, but she spited us sort of. She doesn't respect our opinion. And this is our child. Yes, your grandchild, but also our child. And we have a more direct authority over the child, at least for now, until the child becomes an adult, decides to choose what he wants to do. So I don't think I'll make it sin. It's not a life-threatening thing, it's her. But I will have to explain to her that moving forward, when we decide on something, she'll have to stick by it. Or there may be consequences. Use the word may.
Okay. Okay. Who else wants to go? Who else wants to go? Agodi, go on. Just unmute and go on.
Okay, I think I would, since she's my mother-in-law, I would leave the matter to my husband to handle it, to tell her himself that, just say it in a respectful, anyhow he will say it. I know he has the wisdom of God to tell her, oh, okay, what happened, ask her about it, because she's not my mom directly, she may interpret it as being, especially because she's also African, not from another, if maybe she's from Europe or any other place, she may not interpret it that way. She may interpret that I'm, being disrespectful, I don't, recognize her. And I feel that it's the man's place to put his foot down and say, okay, this is what I would allow in my house. It's not what I would allow, and let it be that it is me that is saying, oh, please now calm down with your people, and all that. So that's the way I see it. I feel that it's his responsibility to do that. And I'll just keep quiet.
Okay. We have really good women here. Anybody else wants to go? Before we hear from the men.
Let's hear from the men. We have
Okay, let's hear from the men. Chisom, do you want to go? Did you hear the scenario? I don't know if Uzo heard the scenario.
Sorry, I didn't hear everything, so I'm sorry.
Okay, let me tell this. Let me give the scenario again, because I think Uzo also just joined that. I don't think he had the scenario. Okay, so you and your wife, you've been married for 3 years. You have a son who is 18 months. You have discussed with both parents, so your parents and her parents, that you don't want to cut your son's hair. Okay, you have discussed it as a couple, you've discussed as a family, you've discussed it individually. But one day you take your son to go to your mom's house, for her to babysit, and you come back to pick your son later that day, and your mom has cut the baby's hair. Now, I want you to look at it like this. So your mother-in-law, so whether it's the man or it's the woman, it's your it's not your own personal mother that did it. It's your mother-in-law who cut the baby's hair. I'd like to know how you're going to handle it. I'd also like to know how you handle it if it is your own mother who cut the baby's hair.
Okay, well, for me, I think it's a very the way it has been described. I don't think I'll take it very lightly, because even though it's just hair, it's not something. Why would she take such a step when we have already explained to her that is not what we wanted to do? So I may be a bit upset, but I think perhaps as Agodi said, perhaps she might be in the best position to talk to her mother about it. Okay. But I will also put in a word as well. I will just express my displeasure that that happened. But and if it's my own mom, I don't think I'll act any differently. I think to be the same, I would probably be as upset as well. So yeah, I just perhaps the problem started when earlier on the relationship, where it was not properly defined what kind of relationship we have, because I think
But in this case, you had laid down the rules. You had told you had discussed this with her. It's not that she didn't know. It has been discussed with her more, up to 3 times, because she's been pushing and you have been telling her, we have agreed, ma. We don't want to put this baby there. So the rules were already there.
Well, for her to do that, I think is very disrespectful. So we just express displeasure, and maybe in the future we avoid putting ourselves in a situation where we have to have such circumstance happen. Either, totally avoiding, bringing, discussing certain issues with her, or bringing her into a position where she's able to have take such actions. I think that would be a good compromise. But the issue is that we don't want to create permanent problems. So it might just be a diplomatic solution, might just be to avoid rather than to if confrontation is not working.
Okay. I'm liking the answers we're getting. Uzo, do you want to have a go?
Okay. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Hello. Yeah, good evening, ma. Yeah. Honestly, I don't want to see myself in such a situation. But if something like that happens, just like Chisom said, the way I'll respond to my mom is the same way I'll respond to my in-law. But first of all, the deed has been done. No matter what I say or do, the hair will not come back. But I will try to find a better way of telling him how I feel about not honoring, not respecting my decisions, especially when it has to do with my son. So I think that's what I will do. I'll find a way of letting her know that I don't like this, and I wouldn't want such a thing to happen again.
Okay. Okay. Is there anyone else who wants to say anything about this before we go on to the next scenario?
It's orange.
It could also be something more serious, like she put a tribal mark on your child's face.
Exactly.
I think different.
I like that
which
one.
is permanent.
Which is permanent.
Your hair
Yes.
can go back.
No,
But tribal back cannot be
no,
removed.
that one, the person will go. No, that one is to the extreme.
Let's go back to the next
Okay,
scenario.
so let's go to the next scenario. I have a number, but I wonder if we're going to go through all of them. Okay, now this one is the man is an only son, okay? He's the only son and he's the star of the family. So let's say it's your husband. He's the only son and he's the star of the family, okay? You have 4 sisters. Now your sisters are insisting, have insisted that mom, your mom, that's the man's mom, will live with you. Mom is unwell, is incapacitated, and they're insisting that your wife, it has to take care of her. So she has to clean her up, has to cater to her every need, has to make special meals for her, and all that. Your sisters are insisting that she must live with you. You as the only son, you love your mom. Your mom sacrificed a lot for you. Let's say your dad died early, and your mom sacrificed a lot for you. You feel indebted to her. You want to take care of her. But your wife is struggling. How are you going to manage it? So I think this is more for the men than for the women.
So who wants to go first? Let's have a chat. Today is all about chatting. You heard the scenario. Who wants to go first? How would you handle it?
I didn't get that, sir.
Go on, please.
Okay. You didn't get this. Okay. So man is an only son. Sorry?
Go on.
Man is an only son, has 4 sisters. Sisters are insisting that the mom has to live with the son. So you are the son. The mom has to live with you. Mom is incapacitated, she's unwell, and your wife is struggling to take care of her because your sisters are insisting that she must live with you and wife must be the one who looks after her.
How do you handle it?
So for me, I think it really has to do with how my wife also sees the situation. I think that's actually the most important factor in this discussion, because if she is willing to take on the responsibility, that that's from the depths of her mind, she's totally fine with it. Then, that's not a problem. But if she says she doesn't want to do it, I think that is where we will need to be a little bit more creative to find a solution, because it cannot be
struggling.
Or if she's struggling to do it, then no, we have to find a better way. Either any of the sisters can take up some of the responsibility, or if there's a way we can pay for a nurse or something, somebody who can also help to do that. But definitely, it will not be the best to force a wife to do that if she's struggling. No.
Okay. Another scenario. The next scenario.
Okay.
Okay.
So in this.
Okay.
Okay, let us go. Okay, go on.
Okay. Personally, I think I'll have a problem when it's my sister that I'm insisting she has to stay with us.
When it is her sisters.
Yes. Okay.
Your wife's
okay.
sisters.
Okay.
No, the man.
Yes.
It's his sisters.
Okay,
is it my sister?
Okay.
My
okay,
sisters.
right.
Yeah, my sisters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'll have a problem when it's my sisters that are insisting my mom stays with us.
Okay.
I could have preferred it the other way around. My wife asking for my mom to come stay with us. Now, anything she's doing from her heart because she's the one that accepted the offer. It's not going to be an easy task. So it should be left for me and her to decide this is what we want to do, and we are taking anything that comes out of it. So for me, I don't want to take that because it's going to affect my wife. And as it's affecting her, the whole family is affected. So I'll find a way of, like Chisom said, let's share the responsibility, so that everybody will.
But what if your wife
contribution?
No, but what if your wife kicks against it totally? Honey, I don't want your mother to come and stay with us. I'm not sure I can cope. I work, we've got kids, I just can't cope. I don't want your mother to come and stay with us. How would you handle it?
I won't impose it on her because in issue of taking care of somebody that is not feeling fine, it should be more of something that comes from the heart. I would rather try to resolve it with my sisters so that I will find a solution to that. If it means rotating it among every other person, maybe it stays 1 month here, stays 1 month there, so that everybody will just have a contribution to that. But for my wife to say that she doesn't want to, I respect that. Because even if you bring her there, she's not going to take care of her the way you want that to happen. So I respect her opinion on that.
Okay. Now the next scenario. So we'll run through it quickly then.
Yeah. So we'll go through this. Maybe two people.
There are some people that are watching on Facebook that just said they can't, that they want to contribute. We're going to try and put the Zoom link. I actually have the Zoom link. Go to look for marriage project, or go to my Facebook page, Pastor Obi. Go to the comments. I've put the link there. Or look for Marriage Project on YouTube. The link is also in the description, in the comments, in the chat. Click on the link so you can join us on Zoom. I hope they heard that. I hope they've not gone. I wanted to. All right.
Okay, so we'll do two more. So one is grandma and grandpa live with you. Okay, they live with you. You have two children aged 5 and 7. Now, in your home, your children don't watch TV during the week. Your children don't eat chocolate, and your children don't drink soda like Coke, Fanta, that sort of thing. But grandparents are always offering these. You come back from work, you see that the children haven't done their homework and they have been watching TV during the week. Every weekend they buy soda, they buy chocolates, and give your children, mostly when you're not around, and they eat those things. I want to know how you would deal with this, and anyone can go. So it could be your parents, could be your parents-in-law.
My please, I want to ask a question.
Go on.
You mentioned the ages of my children.
Yep.
What are the ages again?
5 and 7.
Okay.
So does anyone have any inputs?
All right, go on, kids.
Okay. I'm actually seeing two things here. First of all, my parents or my parents-in-law, it still boils down to respecting our decision. But being from Nigeria, I can, of course, from my experience, I know how those kind of things go. They may not just want to sit and they're eating something and they won't give to their grandchildren. It's like an instinct. So they may not necessarily be doing it to spite us. So what I might do if I'm in this kind of situation is to explain why I am doing those things, because they are for a very good purpose. First of all, for their health. Secondly, I'm teaching them discipline. so that they can grow into better adults, right? So if I explain these things to my parents, so they understand that I'm not trying to punish them, it's not punishment. I'm trying to instill something in them. That's one way. I believe that should solve the problem. Then the second thing I'll do is to talk to my kids, maybe put a penalty to if I find out you took soda, even if grandma gave you soda and you collected. When we're growing up, there was a way they do it. They tell you somebody comes to the house, even if the person offers you food, you turn it down nicely because you know that Momsy is going to beat you. Even if Momsy tells you, don't worry, go ahead, take. You know it's a trap.
It's a trap.
Big
So,
trap.
yeah, so I'll probably do that with them so they understand that this is something you can do. Even if grandma says this, tell grandma nicely, sorry, I can't, or whatever. Then I believe if I handle it from those two ends, with my parents understanding that I'm not punishing them, I'm just trying to train them, and then the children too, that might solve the problem.
Okay.
I think we've had enough scenarios now.
Let's do the last one.
Okay,
And
the last
reason I
one.
want to do the last one is because many of us have a unique relationship with food. Okay. So this is the last one, and I want at least one lady and one man to. No, I don't want the men to go. I want two ladies to go because men, it would be very difficult for you to turn down food, isn't it? So now for the woman, every Saturday and Sunday, your mother-in-law sends a cooler of your husband's favorite meal. Every Saturday and Sunday, somebody would drive or somebody would just come and say, Mommy said we should give you this. And your husband is very excited. Oh, my favorite. That sort of thing. I want to know how you're going to handle it.
Yum. How the women will handle it, right? As in, it occurs always, right?
Yes. Yeah, so this is happening all the time.
All the time, yeah.
She's sending food, a cooler of akara or something. Ofaku, whatever it is.
Ofaku, that's my favorite.
So something.
We cannot turn that one down.
Every Saturday morning, Sunday morning, the food, somebody has brought food or she has bought it herself. How will you handle it? Is it okay with you? Oh, that's fine, we'll eat it. Or is it like a line, a deal breaker or something you're just not comfortable with? Yes, anyone? Precious, go on.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, ma.
Hi.
Good evening, Precious.
Well, regarding this scenario, in all honesty, mom-in-law is doing me a huge favor to an extent. I will accept it in good faith. And because I know, is my hobby's favorite. And in the event that I can't even make it, it's helping me in a way. And I'll gladly eat it with him. We'll gladly share grandma's food for the children. They're expecting grandma's food every Sunday. And then for the hobby, at least his favorite, he gets to enjoy it even when his wife can't prepare it every week. So, as far as I'm concerned, I do not see anything wrong with it. And then if I can also make the meal, of course, once in a while, I will also try. Babe, I tried Momsy's, your favorite meal that Momsy makes you. Like, we find fun out of it. I don't see that as a big deal, and I won't take it as a big deal.
Okay. Thank you very much. Does anyone have a dissenting view? Does anyone have any contrary view?
Hello. Sorry, I initially had a dissenting view, but after listening to the last caller, I was beginning to have a second, thoughts. But I just said, let me just air my dissenting view. I feel, or my first reaction was like she trying to take my place. Not really like she can't get married to my husband. That's literally, but that's what I'm supposed to be doing, and it's like still babying him. I don't know how to explain this thing. I don't know. It's like is it cord or whatever has not been cut, has not been severed yet. It's like he has not really left home. You know, and for me, I'm not yet 50 yet. I'm not yet 60 or 70. So wisdom will say, okay, let me try and put myself in her shoes. But I will first discuss with my husband and ask him what he has to say about it, you know, and if I can, and if he says, okay.
Wants the food, Seal.
Oh, he wants the.
Are you know
But you know, the funny part of it was that in the house here, he was just what he said was what he said. He said, what is wrong with it? I said, okay.
Exactly.
Okay, good luck.
Exactly. No, the men will not understand this one. They won't be able to relate.
My favorite food.
They won't be able to relate to this one. So.
Because it would have been better. If I'm going to put myself in a mother-in-law's shoe, what I would have done was to, you know, like I will talk with the daughter-in-law and say, oh, okay, especially if it's going to be a continuous thing. If it's a one-off thing, it's different. And say, okay, see, oh, this and that. Your husband, just, you know, play, he likes this and that. And would you like to, you know how it's spread? And now, of course, a wise daughter-in-law that I am will be like, oh, mommy, yes, so when am I coming? I'll come and learn it, you know? But it's as good as you saying, it's just a symbol of something. It's as if she's saying, okay, bring your clothes over. Let me wash it like when you were 5 years. I don't know. It's not
the point of this scenario. She's sending a message.
Yes,
she's sending a message.
It's not as if it's bad. Yes, I don't know how to explain it. It's just something that, in fact, I don't know. I don't have the words, okay, but I know you understand me.
Let me put a twist to it now. All right. Maybe your husband have, whether knowingly or unknowingly, dropped hints that it's been long he ate this food though. And maybe his mother was like, why now? Haven't you told your wife that this is what you like? He said, I have, Sha, but she doesn't really know how to cook it. And that's how that weekly delivery of food now started.
Okay.
And you got to find out that's exactly what happened. How would you feel?
Terrible. I'll feel terrible because, first and foremost, he did not lift me up in the eyes of his mom, you know, telling her directly that I don't know how to do it. And I don't think he would do that. I think he would just, you know, find a nice way of telling me that, please, you know, I like it this way. And I'll just, you know, get the point.
What many men can do. What many men can do. Okay. And it's not, you know, men are a bit simple, okay? In some things like this. Because they don't really grasp it. So they'll just go like, I've not had it for some time. And it's not because they think you can't cook. It's just, they like what their mothers cook. Do you understand? This is food they grew up with. So they really wouldn't mind. So the thing, and that's what we are coming to. You need to get to the point. You need to get that maturity that when you get married, you leave and you cleave. You leave and you cleave. Okay, once in a while.
When it comes to food.
I know.
Where is leaving and cleave?
You have to leave and cleave.
Food.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
right.
Anyway,
it's going to be hot today.
It depends on how you look at it and what you think. You know, the reason why I brought this food up is because there's a kind of relationship we have with food. There's something we think food means. You know, there's something we think, somebody else cooking for my husband. Somebody else entering my kitchen. We have women a bit territorial about food and the kitchen and what their husbands eat and things like that. We're a bit territorial about it. So it depends on how you feel about it.
You have to explain to me how leave and cleave comes in this food thing now.
Leave and cleave comes in everything.
You know the number one proponent of leave and cleave.
I know.
When I talk
leave
to
and cleave comes in
everything. But this is food. And let's assume it's harmless.
Yes.
This is just food. This guy likes this food. The wife is not delivering on this is delicacy, right? Now, so the mother is just sending it in. Leave and cleave food?
Yes.
So the man should say no to the mom.
No, I don't. You know, if I put myself in this scenario, personally, I will do what Precious will do. I will enjoy the food with him.
So what's the leave and there's no leave and cleave.
My mom-in-law came a few years ago here. It was one of my best times because I didn't cook. She made lots of soup, food. I come back from work and there's food that's never happened to me before. I was enjoying it. I did not mind her taking over the kitchen. I did not mind. For me, I'm fine. Some people may not like it, and we can't judge them.
No, I'm not judging them. I just want to understand where this live and cleave.
Yes, the reason I'm talking about live and cleave is
the woman should the man should tell the
I'm not
wife,
saying he should tell
the mother rather.
No, but
Okay.
I want to be like a kind of a mindset thing. See, you married your wife. You need to accept her and deal with this is all that marriage brings. Okay? She's not perfect. She is on a journey. Encourage her. Go with the flow. Eat her food.
Of course, you're eating
and all
her
that.
food.
That's what I mean.
You're eating
because
her food.
you have she's never.
But the one you like was delivered.
I'm not saying you shouldn't eat it.
Should the man say, mommy, no, I've disconnected.
No,
I have left. I'm living with my wife that doesn't know how to cook my delicacy. I'm living with my wife that doesn't know how to cook the delicacy.
No.
I've heard, where is the liver? Somebody says she wants to say something. Sam, what do you want to say? Wait, where is the liver and cleave in this talk?
You have to leave.
Good afternoon from here, sir. Good afternoon.
Can you hear me? How is it Dubai or America or Canada? Canada.
I'm in Canada.
That's Canada.
We're doing well. We're not complaining.
Awesome.
Yeah. I have like a contrary opinion to what is being discussed. First and foremost, I have 6 sisters in the house, and this happened to one of my sisters, and I just want to actually share a story. There's this particular thing that my people, I come from Asa, and we like egusi and molded egusi soup with okazi. And,
where are you from?
I'm from Abia. I'm from Abia State.
It's our soup.
Yeah. So probably my sister, because of the way she was raised and brought up, she doesn't know how to make it.
No, my son is the one Umai Haman.
No, I'm Abia. I'm not Omahia. I'm from Okwa West local government area.
Yeah.
So my sister didn't know.
Okay. People eat this soup.
No, Okwa. It's close to you now. Okwa West.
Okwa is
Okwa West.
Towards Port Harcourt.
Okay.
So Okwa is before Abba.
Yeah.
After Abba.
Yeah, that's true.
So she didn't know how to make it because she was of the way she was raised, that she wasn't really good with this native soup. So she can actually cook. So the mother-in-law actually came to the house one day with this beautiful pot of soup, and the husband actually loved it because he grew up in the village. So, and my sister at some point got jealous about it, was like frowned about it, that let me say to you, wasting rice, I get half rice and see, is this soup you want to eat? But I was there in the house that day. So, but the man actually sat down and said, come and taste this food pot. And she ate it and loved it. Honestly, I will tell you that right now, she's the one even asking the mother-in-law, Mommy, when are you bringing the soup again?
She did not go to learn how to cook it.
She says it's a waste of time for her. She wants to.
I like women who own it. Yeah.
So because she said she told me that no matter how I try to learn how to cook it, I won't cook it like the way my husband like it. So it's better I allow peace to reign and let the woman. She's not taking my husband away. My husband is my own. Let's enjoy the soup together. And on Sundays when the soup comes, everybody enjoys it.
Everybody enjoys it.
Exactly.
Everybody enjoys it. So for me, I don't think it's something that should even cause a problem. But depending on how you see it, you're not being attached to your mother. Mom's food is mom's food. If I have my mom around, we'll eat her soup. My wife wouldn't mind. So it's just like the way understanding, because if you push this thing too much, you can create problem in your home.
That's true.
You can't separate a mother from a son. It's difficult. No matter how you try, you have to allow the flow.
That one, I will not 100% agree with you. But I know what you're saying.
I agree.
You can't separate the mother from the son.
Yeah, what I mean.
Once a mother, always a mother. Absolutely.
Mother was a mother. That's what I'm saying. Once a mother, I'm not saying you can't separate that, but once a mother, at least mother they are enjoying the food and everybody's happy, and every Sunday they eat the food.
Absolutely. Yeah, Kate is also from Okwa, right? Kate, you want to say something?
Yes, sir. What we painted is not usually the pictures are. The
Okay.
picture is the mother
Mhm.
is trying to actually take the place of because I've had more than 5 stories. The mother is trying to tell the wife that you are not doing it well.
Mhm.
And that is where the wife, because
Even if she's trying, no,
even
she's
if she's
trying.
trying. So just because she cannot make okpa, for instance, or she
Mhm.
cannot make abacha,
Mhm.
for instance,
Mhm.
then you are not wife enough. That is
Mhm.
usually the attitude. And I think that's because we know that most women now are working class. Everybody needs help. If you ask some women, they will tell you they don't even mind dumping their family with their mother-in-law or whoever to continue taking care so they can work. But usually, from all the stories I've heard, I've not had a personal experience, but I have people that have complained about it. They don't bring the food based on we're just helping. It's like
Yes.
spiting the woman. You're not
Yes.
handling your home well. You're not handling your
Yes.
position well. So let's teach you how it is done in a very funny manner. Because honestly, nothing stops the mother-in-law from even packaging that food and sending it to the daughter-in-law. Like when in the buy, just try it out. So it makes her own it. But most times they paint that picture. And I think that is where most women have a problem with it, not necessarily the deliverer. And also the reaction of the husbands. They can come off like, oh, finally, this would have been missing. Like it's been the only thing in my life that makes me complete. And then the woman starts feeling sort of second place in her home. But of course, what everybody has said is right. We should be able to not make it seem like it's a problem.
Okay.
So peace could
Okay, now wealthy man, based on this scenario that Kate has painted now, right? What would you do? Your mother-in-law is doing this to spite your wife. What would you do now? No, not your mother-in-law, your mother is doing all of this to spite your wife. What would you do?
Good evening, sir. Good evening, man.
Good evening.
It's a bit of a twist for me because I know my mother, so I know the kind of things she would do. But now, let me put myself in the shoe of what you just said. What I would do, I can simply tell my mom in a very nice way if that's what she's trying to do. And if I noticed if that's what she's trying to do, I'll tell her in a nice way, Mom, I know you are doing this to give your son his favorite, for example, yeah. And but the truth of the matter is the way and manner you are going about it is not healthy for my family. I will come out because something I've even done now. Let me use that as a practical example. I remember, when my dad was alive, we were talking and I said, Daddy, I'm about to get married. He said, who has mentioned to the person? He said, no, don't to wear trouser. My father was like, wear trouser. Come and say yes. So my mom reacted. After my mom, she reacted. And I said to my mom said, what I would do is whenever we are coming to see you, she will wear that skirt you want her to wear. But when you're coming to my house, my wife is permitted to wear her shorts. I didn't even mention trouser. I said she's permitted to wear her shorts. Yes, exactly. So if you don't like it, that means you can't stay in my house. So, in fact, this last time I traveled, we talked about it and we laughed over it.
You're taking it seriously.
Yeah.
Because of the church,
I know my mom.
Yes. Goes to.
Yes, I know my
mom. Are serious.
I know my mom. I know my family church.
The church,
when we travel to see my mom, my people, I told her just dress like this. And honestly, you need to see the kind of reception everybody gave to her. They want to have her immediately. Just her dressing. So and I told her, I said, hey, imagine this was just funny. Imagine you're not a good person. So your dressing has bought everybody. You've won everybody. So I will, because I know I can talk to my mom with this kind of issue. I'll tell her, Mom, for this case, I think you should, if I might not say stop immediately, but reduce the way you're bringing food to the house. If possible, if you want to send food, just like Kate said, run it through my wife. Let her be aware
Yes.
That you're bringing food to the house, you know, so that when that food is coming, if she's finding anything, that role I've given to her that she should go to my wife will break everything. It will break her wings.
Absolutely.
So, or if that Sakara is coming, she will just know that if this one is coming to the wife, it's not coming to my son direct. I won't be able to do all those my drama. So that's what I would do. I'll run it through my wife, and she will. In fact, she's not even bring it to the house. Please take it to her office, and let me so that I will be able to make it clear to her. By the time she have done it 2 times, knowing that stress of going to her office is too much, she'll just reduce. But if she insists, then I might try to raise my voice a little bit. So that's the action I will take. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you guys for all your
contributions.
I think we now need to just say 1 or 2 things because we have just barely 15 minutes to the end. I want to say thank you guys for connecting and joining us. There was a mistake on the flyer. The flyer said first instead of second, and thank you guys for connecting. That's why we don't have a lot of people join us because of the confusion with the date on the flyer. So I'm going to leave my wife to say 1 or 2 things about this. And remember, in Marriage Project, we go back to the standard. That's where we draw our inference from. We don't give you our ideas. We go back to the standard. And I won't be tired of repeating this. We cannot be wiser than God. So whenever you go to the wisest and you seek counsel from the wisest, and you do what the wisest have said, I believe you will always, not just end up being wise, you will always make the right decision. So let's hear in the next 10 minutes, we're closing the next 10 minutes. So I just wanted you guys to please stay tuned, don't disconnect. And my wife will take it from here.
I will try my best because we have a bit of things to say.
Yeah.
So we know that on the bright side of things, we love our families. Extended families are a great resource for new families, for couples, for young families. Extended families can do a great deal. So they are good for care, guidance, help, support. So there are so many positives. You know, we like when we say in-laws, we like to look at the negatives. But the truth is, in-laws are great. There are so many positives. However, it has to be the best interest of the young family. It has to be in the best interest of your family. So what works for you? What works for you may not be what works for me. But what works for you and what works for us is what we have discussed.
Yeah.
What we have agreed on, what we have determined. We will say what works for us. That is why this is important to be discussed even from courtship. You have to know the kind of family you're getting married into. You have to know, what they do. Just like Emeka has said, in my family, they don't like this sort of thing. So when we're going, this is the kind of, front would like to do. So during the courtship time, that is the time to tell, this is what my family like. This is the way my father likes to be greeted. This is the way my mother. See, we are big on respect where we come from. We can't afford to, compromise that. We are big on respect. But it's your duty to tell me what your family like. And my duty to tell you what my family like and what we tolerate. And then I can now put myself in that position so that that friction is no longer there. However, it has to be within our boundaries. What we have agreed will work for us, what we believe in. Okay.
Absolutely.
So this is important that we lay that ground rule. Now, what we've just talked about living and cleaving, and we know that from the day God instituted marriage between Adam and Eve, he said it's for this reason. Man will leave father, mother, and cleave to his wife, and they will become one flesh. So this is for all of us to really, really understand. That is why we talk about the marriage covenant in marriage school. It is so important. You people are now one flesh. And someone just said, it's difficult to separate a woman from her son. I have 3 sons, I know. But once they marry, they have left me. That's the truth. Once they decide to, they have left me, and they have now, so that marriage is now priority, and will take priority over me, over my wants, over my needs, over what I want for them. Now they can decide to take my advice if they want, but they're not obliged to. What that young family, what is in their best interest is what they determine is in their best interest. So this is very, very important. Why is it so difficult to live and clean? We know we love our families, we love our parents, we love our sisters, we love our brothers. These are people who we've known for, let's say I get married at 30. I've known for 3 decades. My father, my mother, my brothers, my sisters. I believe they know what's best for me. I believe they. So it's difficult for you all of a sudden. This stranger that I've just known for 18 months, he now had to tell me how I should relate with my family. What's a go on? You know? So it can be difficult, but the principle, once you decide to marry, it takes preeminence. It does take preeminence. So these are things you need to really, really understand before you make that decision. And if you already made that decision, then this is what it is. You know, so with every separation, there's difficulty. You know, any sort of separation. So when someone is getting, that's why people cry when they're getting married, because they're really being separated from their nuclear families. Amen. So this is so important. And the other reason why people find it difficult is for this weird thing that people say: you're not related to your spouse.
Yeah,
very weird
and
thing.
they only say that.
People say that, you know,
you see brothers or sisters.
They will say the only person in your family you're not related to is your spouse.
Is your spouse.
Your brother, your children, you're related to your children. Your brothers, your sisters, your parents, your spouse.
In-laws always say that.
They always say that.
I mean,
it's very weird.
It's crazy. It's because they've not been taught right. What they said is correct. That's the truth. She's not my blood relative, but she's my blood covenant relative. And blood covenant relative is much higher. Is it much? The right English. Much higher. Remember, it's higher. Whether it's tautology. But you know what I mean? Blood covenant supersedes natural blood. I'll say that again. Blood covenant supersedes natural blood. Do you know why? My relations with my mom and my late dad and my sisters and my brother is just normal relationship. We don't have any covenant. I'm going to say that again. You don't have any covenant with your parents. Neither do you have any covenant with your brothers and sisters. But with the one you went to the altar before God and agreed to spend the rest of your life with, you have a covenant. And it's not just a normal covenant, it is the blood covenant. Now, for those of us that went through our marriage project, marriage classes, we taught this. That is why having sex with people is dangerous, because you are connecting with all those people through blood covenant. I might say this, it might shock some people. You are more connected to the girl you had sex with or the man you had sex with 5, 10 years ago, every yesterday, that's not your wife or your husband, then you are connected to your father and your brother and your sister. I'll say that again. You're more connected to one girl or one boy you had sex with years back or every yesterday, that is not your wife or your husband, than your father, your mother, and your brothers. And that is the truth. Because sex connects you. Sex creates a covenant. So between you and your spouse, you have blood covenant. That connection, that relationship is stronger than anything you have with any of your natural relatives. That's why God said it. Say, see, you must leave father and mother now. Now, why? You are entering a higher commitment, a higher relationship. Until we understand this, you will not put your spouse where your spouse is supposed to be in your life. That is why you see men still have their brothers as their next of kin. They lack understanding. They shouldn't have married. They should have done like Davido, that have kids and baby mamas. Say it's children you want. Can't have baby mamas that will give you kids now. Be like a Davido. Don't marry, because once you marry, that person you are married to is the most important person, human being in your life. After that person, every other person comes. And in this understanding, once you have this understanding, you see in-law problem reduces. It's easier to deal with. Sorry, that statement.
Brilliant. Thank you. So what are the consequences of not knowing these your rules of engagement or the boundaries or whatever it is we're going to discuss? Now, in-laws can ruin your marriage. I mean, at worst, permanently ruin it, sever it. I just read a story today. The marriage dissolved.
Yeah.
In-laws can ruin. At best, cause resentment, cause conflict, manipulation, division, confuse your children, that sort of thing. So very, very important. Paranoia. You just start suspecting. All your mother needs is to put a small seed into your heart. This your wife is like she. All of a sudden, anything she does, you start saying, my mother said, you start looking somehow. So that's all they need.
It's true.
Absolutely. So can confuse your children, like what we just discussed about your parents giving your children soda or breaking your boundaries, allowing your children to watch TV when they shouldn't watch TV, allowing them to go places they shouldn't go, all that sort of thing. It can really, really confuse them. The children don't know what they're doing. Put pressure on your resources and entitlement. For instance, we talked about the lady who has to take care of her mother-in-law. It will affect her going to work. It will affect her mental health. It will, especially if she's struggling, So many men also struggle to take care of their wives, brothers, sisters, family. Puts a lot of pressure on your resources. If you don't have clear boundaries, rules of engagement, this is what we do, this is what we can't do. So this is so important. Undue pressure on things like infertility, because it's your mother who's saying, now bring your wife, let us take her there. Your sister is saying, I know this prophet, let me take her here, or that sort of thing. So if you don't know how to deal with these things, you will have some problems, and problems in decision making, very, very important. There are some people, they're unable to make decisions until they call their father, until they call their mother, until they call their sisters, until they call their elder brother. They can't make any decision. They can't make any financial decision. They can't do anything until they call my elder brother. When he comes back from America, I will tell him,
Let's wait till I discuss with my mommy.
Can be a problem.
That's crazy.
Can be a problem. So we're going to talk about the rules of engagement now. Now, this should be agreed before marriage or shortly after marriage. So it's going to benefit all of us who are young couples, people who've not gotten married or about to get married. You sit down and discuss, how are we going to deal with our in-laws? What are the things we need to put in place? What are our boundaries? Very, very important. So you need to understand what your deal breakers are. You need to understand the things you would not tolerate. And these are based on your values. As Christians, we have our values. There are things that we decide we want to do. Now, the other values, like for instance, if you want your children to be, start being very, very healthy eaters from when they are young. So there are some sort of things you allow in your house, there's some things you don't allow, right? Now, it's so important that you make these things known. Now, when we're discussing, I think the first scenario, which was where the grandma cut the baby's hair, even after she had been, it had been discussed with her. Now, this is very important that you have communicated this, but she still cut the hair. Now, the problem here is she has crossed the line. All of us saying we're going to deal with it nicely, we will just tell her we're displeased and all that. But do you know what she's going to do again?
Yeah.
She's going to do something like that again. And the reason we're doing this is because, as I said, we're addicted to respect. There's a way we really want to respect our in-laws. Our culture is so important to us. But if you don't put these things in place, they will keep being eroded. The day you decide to put it in place, trust me, I think what Chidinma said, he doesn't want any permanent problem. See, they will adjust. Your family will adjust your boundaries. They will adjust.
People will only treat you the way
you
allow them. That's the truth. That's the truth.
They will adjust to it. They will say, your mommy doesn't like you having chocolate, oh, please. We cannot give you. Okay? Or go and ask your mommy if you can take. They will adjust. But when you shine your eye, they see you are serious about this. And the truth is, relationships are better because people know, this woman, she doesn't like people touching her this. Let me not touch it. She doesn't like people entering her room or entering into her wardrobe. Let me not enter. She's my sister, or she's my cousin, or she's my friend, or she's my daughter-in-law, but she doesn't like me touching this part of her house,
or
entering her bedroom, or entering her kitchen. Let me leave it. You know? So people know what their boundaries are, and they will walk within it. They won't hate you for it. They just know this is how she is. You know, you have cousins, you have people who they are a certain way. You treat them the way they want, isn't it? You have cousins who, you know, if you touch their handbag, they will shout.
I don't want their trouble. You respect yourself.
You respect yourself. And you love them anyway.
Yeah.
So the truth is, people will accept those rules that you have laid down, and they will still love you anyway. So don't worry, you're not going to cause any permanent rift. You know, they will just know this is what she can take and this is what she cannot take. Okay, so the most important principles, underlying principles I want you to remember is you are prioritizing your marriage first, and then your family, so your children. You're prioritizing them, so they take preeminence over everything. You take preeminence over everything. So your mom, your dad, your sisters, your brothers, your family, and your marriage first. Number two, you want to make sure that your spouse is respected. So your elder brother can't come and shout at your wife in front of you, and you support him and be nodding. You will simply say, no, brother, I don't appreciate you talking to my wife like that. You know, or brother, don't worry, I'll deal with it myself. You don't allow him shout at her, slap your sisters, rough her up, slap her, hit her, and then you tell her it's because you were shouting back. Why did you answer them back? You know, you are sending a message. You are sending a message. So it's so important that you make sure your spouse is respected, whether the person is there or not. So even when the person is not there, your father makes a comment about your husband. You say, no, daddy, please, I don't appreciate that. And you will see that he will quickly adjust. That's the truth. They will adjust. You know, I also want to say, you also want to respect your parents. You know, even the Bible says we should honor. You want to respect your parents. And we're big on respect where we come from. So your mother, that is why you have to tell your spouse, this is how, you know, please, I know you're tired, I know you're this, I know you're that, but please still speak to my mom kindly. You know, I know this, I'm going to try to intervene in this way, but don't stop respecting her. Don't stop kneeling down for her. That is what you put in your culture. Don't stop, you know, make sure that your parents you give them maximum respect. So I support that, but that doesn't mean that you should allow them to erode your boundaries. Okay, so very important. The last few things I'm going to say. Number one is you need to communicate. There's no way your parents are going to know what you like and what you don't like, what you tolerate and what you don't tolerate. You need to communicate it. Mommy, please, these children don't watch TV during the week. We are doing it for this and for this and for this. Please, mommy, when they come back from school, don't allow them to watch TV. Don't, you know, communicate it clearly. Mommy, please, whenever my husband comes back, I do so and so forth. Don't ask me why I'm doing it. Don't try to intervene in it. Just allow me to do what I need to do. You know, whenever my husband comes back, I like to have a chat with him and all that. So give us that space. You know, just communicate it very well. Mommy, I don't like you flogging my children, or I don't like you hitting my children. Please don't do it. If they do something well, when I come back, tell me. I will deal with this. I know this is not how you used to do it in your time, but this is how I want to bring my children up. Okay, so you need to communicate very, very clearly what you want done. Number two, follow through on consequences. There have to be consequences. So if you don't put in consequences, as I said, you know, all of us, we like to push. We like to push people's boundaries. We want to know if you're serious. So you tell your child, don't touch that thing, they'll go and touch it. You tell them, don't go to the fridge and take this, they'll go and do it. But if you now put a consequence, okay, because you have done this, you're not going to be able to get access to this or this. Mommy, because this has happened, I'm sorry, you're going to have to be going home. Sometimes it can be that severe. Mommy, we can't do this. You're going to have to be. Or for that mother who caught the baby said, Mommy, I'm sorry, but you can't babysit this child anymore. For now. My wife is very unhappy. We're not going to be bringing this child around for you to babysit. Or we can't leave this baby alone with you. You have eroded our trust. We can't trust you. You can't trust me. Mommy, we can't trust you. we discussed something with you, you didn't keep to it. If you put yourself in our shoes now, how would you feel if it were you? Okay, so there has to be consequences and you have to follow through it. It's not you say, Mommy, we can't bring this baby. Then after 2 weeks, Mommy, can you hold the junior? Yeah, don't do that. If you do that, you're not serious.
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing, so as I said, people will adjust to your consequences. Clarify and communicate again. So they do it the first time, leave leave margin for error. They do it the first time. Mommy, I've told you, don't give these children chocolates. Pico. Just please, don't give them. So clarify, communicate again. Clarify, communicate again. Very important. As we've already talked about, ensure that your spouse is respected. So at each point in time, make sure that the sanctity of your marriage, respect is intact. Very, very important. Now, the last thing I'm going to say is, don't project your standards or your values or your boundaries on other people. Okay? Now, my children have to ask me for everything. Anything they want, even if it's bread, they will, Mommy, can I have bread? That's how we do. I can't go to my sister's house where our children just open her fridge, take things they want. I said, why do your children do like this now? You don't treating them well, oh. No. That is not what works for them. So if it works for me, it's not. So I don't go and project your own. You go to your brother's house, you see his wife, she spends 2 hours watching reality TV. You say, my brother married a very lazy woman. Your brother comes back from work and he goes to the fridge, warms his food and eats. You say, your wife cannot come down and serve you. Or your wife if it's my husband, I have to serve him. I have to. No, don't project your own on another person. Allow people to do what works for them. So whichever is their own, the way they deal, let them deal. There's some families where their brothers and sisters can come in from the door, walk straight into their bedroom. Their mothers can come, walk straight into their bedroom, check this, open doors, open cupboard, open. There's some other families where it's taboo.
Don't do it in my household. You go home that day.
There are families where it's taboo. They don't like it. So don't project your own on somebody else and say because they are not doing it, they are not good.
Yeah.
Just you, the couple, determine what it is that is their own, what works for them, and they will communicate how they want to be treated. So do we have any questions on this? Do you have anything to add?
Yeah. Let me say this quickly. As a family, you are your own entity. You have your sovereignty. Don't let anybody else come into it to either add or subtract. The man and his wife should sit down and agree on the things and the way their home will be run. Every other person that wants to come into that home must align. Like in Nigeria now, I enter my car, I drive anyhow. Do one way, do anything I want to do. But once you land in the UK, something corrects in your head. The same human being in another country drives anyhow, but in this country drives like a sane man. What is the problem? Because in this country, they have a structure. They have a system. Everybody that comes into that structure or that system must align with it. Like in the UK, they call it the UK way of life. If you cannot leave and observe those tenets in the UK way of life, they will kick you out. You go to prison immediately. You don't come here and tell them this is the way I want to run my life. No, you must run your life the way they have said that anybody that lives in this country must run their life. You don't like it, go back to your country. So as the man and his wife, they must agree. This is how we want to run our family. If my brother comes to our house, he must obey our system. If he can't obey our system, I'm going to show him the door. I don't care. You're my brother. You might be older than me. My sister, you are leaving the next day. Because this is how my house, we've determined or predetermined that our house will be run. And you must respect it. So that's the same thing with in-laws. But what usually causes in-law trouble is that the individuals have not made it clear to their family that this is how my husband and I, or my wife and I, have agreed we will run things. So you must make it clear. So they will know. They can say anything they want to say. If they finish saying it and they want to come to your house, once they finish talking, they come to your house, they, like they say in church, keep your mouth shut, peace be still, and forever remain quiet, and align to how things are run in their house. That's exactly what God meant when he said, for this reason, a man shall leave father and mother and start his own sovereign entity that is separate from the one he's coming from. So when your brothers are come and say, but this is how we do it in our house, he says, sorry, this is not our house. This is my house. This is the house of my wife and I. And this is how we've agreed we will run things. So this is what usually solves in-law problem. It must be clear. You make it clear to them. Don't bulge. Don't threaten and don't follow through. Once you threaten, follow through. Follow through. And don't be afraid of the consequences. Like I said earlier on, it is you is the most, like my wife will always say, the most important relationship in your life is that between you and your spouse. And because it's the most important relationship in your life, you must do everything possible to protect that relationship, regardless of who's going to get hurt. Protect the relationship between you and your spouse. Protect it with all that you have. And once you do that, in-law problem dissipates. They might get annoyed the first time you put your foot down. They might get less annoyed the second time. The annoyance the third time might be negligible, but the fourth time, everybody will align. Everybody will have adjusted. Once you don't compromise, if that compromise that sends that confusing signal to them, you keep your foot on the ground. Keep both of them on the ground if possible. Increase the gravitational force so you won't shift. Then everybody aligns after a while. I'll say this again. Protect the relationship between you and your spouse. And this also goes to your pastors trying to interfere in your marriage. We've talked about in-laws. Now I'm talking about pastor-in-law.
Outlaws.
Pastor outlaws.
Outlaws, friends and pastors.
Outlaws, outlaws like friends and pastors.
It's
and
the
all
same
that.
thing.
It's the same thing.
Same thing.
See, I'm a pastor. So when I say I have all the right to say what I'm saying, I am a pastor. I don't have the right to come between a man and his wife, even though they are members of my church. It is not my place. It is not in my calling. I need to respect them because I've read my Bible and I see that God respects the decision a man and his wife makes. So how come a pastor will want to put asunder? That's we are also included in that putting asunder what God has joined together. Pastors, prophets are the words, are prophetesses. They will prophesy doom and gloom and try to put asunder between a man and his wife. Don't allow it. Don't. God respects every decision a man and his wife has made on their own. Don't allow in-laws, don't allow outlaws to put asunder. Put them in their place respectively. Respect them and put them in their place. And all this wahala ends. I think that's all. Yeah. We'll just allow one person, if anybody wants to say something, to say something, and that will be the end. Wealthy man, what do you want to say? So we can close.
Okay, thank you, sir. I have a question based on the last thing you said now. The question actually is, so what if God has been drawing attention of the husband or peradventure the wife on a particular issue or something, say, enjoying the person's attention generally, and the person is not listening, then if God now speaks through the pastor to the person, what will now happen? How will the person go about it? Because a cure or redemption needs to happen in that marriage due to what is going on. So, but now God has given the word to the pastor to go and talk to this woman. In the case that the both of them are not listening, maybe he's talking to the wife, she's not hearing, God is talking to the husband, everybody's angry. So what would they do in that case? What would the pastor not do in that case?
No, you've absolutely answered your question. And this is what I always teach. Our jobs as pastors, prophets, whatever name they go by, is not to command anybody to do anything or force anybody to do anything. Our job is to maybe one, see danger, but the choice is yours. Our job, secondly, might be to confirm, which is what I said, you answered your question, to confirm what already the Holy Spirit have already whispered into your heart. Because the Holy Spirit speaks. Once you're a Christian, the primary way God directs every believer is not through the pastor. No. In the Old Testament, yes, but in the New Testament, no. The primary way God directs a believer, once you're saved, is through the Holy Spirit on your inside. Now, depending on the level of growth where you are, it becomes, important that maybe you need a pastor to confirm that thing you'll be feeling that you're not sure of. So in that case, a pastor will confirm. He will suggest. He will say, see what I'm sensing. See what I'm doing. But he should not say, you must do this. No, it's not our job. We can point things out. We can highlight some things because there is this thing called the Johari window where we talks about the part of you or the you that you know. Then there's a you that you don't even know. You are not aware of. Then there's a you that is totally hidden. But somebody else might see it, but you are not seeing it. You are blind to it. We call it the blind you. You are blind to it. It is there. Others are seeing it, but you can't see it. Just like a choice of a life partner. There's this guy coming for a lady's hand because the lady is in love. She is blinded to some things regarding that man. But a third party, not even a pastor, even a friend, could see that character in the guy, but the girl involved in the relationship is not seeing it because love has blinded her eyes. So there will be the blind side of you. So as friends, pastors, counselors, we can highlight something. We can turn your attention to something. We can point something out, but it's not our job to command you to do it. Because I've seen prophets and prophetess that have commanded a lot of things in marriages, destroyed marriages. It is not our place at all. At all. So pastors confirm the leading. Pastors can show you, point out, and say, see, suggest. But the choice still remains yours. The choice still remains that between you and your spouse.
And a good thing the pastor can also do is to call the both of you to speak to you.
Yeah.
Rather than one person. Speak to both of you. And then two of you, you've heard it. You can now decide on what you want to do with what you have heard.
Which is the system we've adopted here in Marriage Projects. We want to handle marital issues. We'll call the two of you and the two of us will sit down. It's no longer one person talking to one person. It's the two of you and the two of us. So 4 people in that room or in that conference call will have a chat and move forward. Okay.
So any other questions or any comments, please put on the comments what you have learned or what you have heard that's new today, or whatever tickled your fancy.
Please go to the comment section. Do it now.
And then we can close. So thank you so much for joining. Hopefully we will have another meeting at the start of November as well.
So first Saturday in November, remember it is constant. It's a constant meeting. Don't wait for us to send you messages to remind you. Just put it in your calendar every first Saturday of every month by 7 p.m. GMT. And then a couple of months now it will be 8. It will be 8
by
Nigeria.
the next
But it will still be 7 for
meeting.
us.
Yeah, by next meeting it probably will be
8 o'clock for those in Nigeria, right?
for them. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Maybe we can decide to do ours to it earlier here.
or later. Okay, earlier. Okay. It depends.
Anybody
But just know
depends.
that it is every first Saturday. So please go to the comment section now. Leave a message for us. Tell us what it is that you heard today that you've not heard before, what it is that you heard today that you're taking home with you. And after we end this meeting, the guys, remember, you know yourselves, the guys are having our men only. Our men only have lasted longer than the women only session. We're having so much fun. So the guys, you know yourselves, Wealthy Man, Ozo, Chisom, Elijah, you know yourself. You use that link, our link, not this meeting link, our meeting link. Immediately, once we end this, we are starting off that meeting immediately so we can tie up our men's only session. So by next week, we'll now have the adult session so we can end our marriage college course.
Yes.
It has been great. It has been awesome. It has been interesting. Nobody is leaving any comment in the chat.
Waiting, not got any comments yet.
Nobody is leaving any comments in the chat. Wow. So the men only, let's handle our final session now. So we won't have to postpone it. Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Kate, for leaving a comment. Please leave a comment so we can close the meeting.
Okay, thank you very much.
Men only connect once we end this. Thank you, Chidinma. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for your comment as well. Thanks, Precious. Thanks, Chichi.
Thank you very much. God bless you all.
Yes, it was good hearing from the ladies.
Yeah.
Thanks, Precious. You're too kind. Thanks for that comment, Precious. Thanks, Kate.
Thank you so much. God bless you all.
Man,
So
remember to connect.
Month.
See you next month. Man, connect now. Connect immediately. Not by 9. Now. Let's tie up. Bye, everyone. God bless you. We love you.